You know what sound that is, folks. You betcha. I'm Chris Trottier.
And I'm John Anslow, and I'm here with technical education teacher Bill Sargent. Thanks for coming, Bill.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hey, Chris, we're starting out. We're out in the merch trailer where Bill keeps merchandise that they constructed this past school year. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. We started it this year. We've been putting it out at football games and the soccer games and things like that. Sell merch out of it for everybody. So
that's cool. Well, I'm guessing, knowing you, Bill, and knowing the kids and how committed you are to giving kids hands-on skills, I'm guessing this trailer didn't look like this when you started.
No, it didn't. It was close, but it wasn't quite like this. I donated a ice fishing shanty to the school, and I brought my kids in, and I said, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you guys think about that?" And they immediately started going, "Yeah, when can we do this?" So I ordered a window for this so that we could sell our merchandise out of at the games and stuff like that. And I went and talked to Overwear, and I got them to help sponsor us to get merchandise in here for us. I have kids that sell it at the games and things like that. And so far, it's been a big hit.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
So, hey, Chris, this is really interesting. I'm glad we started out here, but I'm getting cold. Let's go in and see the classroom.
All right, sounds good.
All right, I'm going to flip it around here while we walk in. And,
as you walk in, can you pan on the outside of the trailer so we can just get a quick view of it?
Yeah, I can do that for you. Let me get down here.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, hang on a second here. I'm going to flip it
so
that you can see it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Look at that. Oh, cool.
Look at that, huh?
Yeah, that is great.
All right, well, I'm going to follow Bill inside here where it's warm. And we're going to see all the goodies inside and all the amazing things they do inside this classroom.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. He's going to give us a little tour here, a little tutorial as we walk along, if that's okay.
That's awesome. That's perfect.
Here we go.
To the left, we have a staining room in here, which we bring everything in, and we have all of our staining and stuff done in there. We have gluing racks, we have joiners, table saws, planers, lathes, which we start working on pens. We're going to be working on pens, getting them down so that kids can start selling them at like Maker's Fair, things like that. Also, just to get them on the lathe so that they can get experience on the lathe.
Bill, how long are the class periods?
So it's periods. I don't know what the period is. It's like an hour. What is it, an hour?
Okay. Yeah, it's about 70 minutes.
Yeah, about an hour.
Okay, so they get a good amount of time to come in here, get ready, and get stuff going.
Yeah, so when we start a bigger project like we have, I mean, obviously an hour isn't enough. You wish you could have more. We always say that we wish we had more. But we've been able to break it down and spread it out so that kids get a chance to, try to get on every machine if they can. That's a big thing for them. So they can walk out of here at the end and be like, hey, I worked every one of these machines when we're done. So that's a good thing for them.
Yeah. Chris, the tech ed department down here is uniquely laid out in that this classroom, or Bill's classroom, is connected to a common space here that's connected to the welding lab and the CNC lab.
That's right.
That's pretty unique in that how they can work together and they have a common area that they can work with each other.
Yep.
Well, you know what I really like about it too is the ability to go back and forth with the glass overhead doors, because then kids can actually see what other classes are doing and maybe say, hey, I want to try something like that.
Yep. Right. All right, we're going to continue on here. Bill's going to keep showing us around.
So at the front of the class, we have a few products that we've been making for our Maker's Fair coming up here. What I don't sell at Maker's Fair, we'll put out in the merchandise trailer, and we'll start selling that stuff when it's available. One of the things that we want to really hit on is our tip-up. We made a 100% made tip-up here out of the woodworking class, and along with Mike Thomas in the machining class, everything that is made on this tip-up is made here.
Those are amazing.
They are. I think this is actually better than the Beaver Dam tip-up. I really do.
Well, of course it is.
It's got an elk on the flag.
That's
It has
right.
an elk on the flag, which is all reflective on this thing here. We lasered everything on it. And on the back, we put on there Tech Ed 2024. So when we decide to do it next year, we can do another one 2025.
That's great.
What a great collaboration between the classes and the kids.
Yeah. It really worked out nice for what we did. We did that right before Christmas, so these kids had something that they could end up and take home with them and, basically give away as a Christmas present if they wanted to.
So what else is on that table?
We have a lot of things on this table. I've got hat racks that kids are making. At Halloween time, they make jack-o'-lanterns. There's fishing pole holders. We've got some kids that are making turkeys for Thanksgiving. I mean, there's all kinds of things on there. There's mallets, there's barbecue bosses, cell phone holders or tablet holders, things like that. Just things that you could use every day at home. So what I do with my Woods 1 and my Woods 2 classes, I make them end up and make 2 projects. So if I tell them they're going to make this cell phone holder, they get one to take home, but then they have to make me one. And the one that I get, I turn around and I sell at Maker's Fair, or I sell the merch trailer, and I turn around and take that money and I put it back into our program, which buys us, screws, sandpaper, glue, things like that.
It's super, super great idea to keep. Not only can you take those projects and parents can go, look my kid's doing, you're also then the kids are having a little more shared investment into the program and the ongoing success of it.
Absolutely. It's funny. It's funny the reaction I get from the kids. At first, they're kind of like, well, I don't want to make 2. But then all of a sudden, they're like, wait, people are buying these?
Yeah.
They're buying stuff I'm making? And then it's 100% invested at that point into that.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great purpose for them to go, I'm creating something that's actually going to be used by somebody.
Absolutely. And again, we get them on the CNC, which is the big machine over there, which
Let's go over and see
program that.
one. That's quite a machine.
It is quite the machine. So with the CNC, to give you an example for like the tip up that we were doing, everything on the tip up here was done on the CNC. We programmed it how to cut the hole out and all that, the hole for up on top. This is all run on the CNC here, the big one and the small one, so I was running 2 at a time at times. After it was done, I was then throwing it into the laser, and I was laser engraving the elk head, everything around this, the EHS on the back of that as well. So the kids were the ones that came up with the idea, and they did the programming on it. All I was is the guy that just shuffled the material around for them.
Wow.
So this is also
That's a small CNC as well,
small
yes.
CNC, okay. And then over
There's the laser
here,
engraver.
Yep, is the
laser
laser. Yep.
engraver right here.
Yep.
Okay. And then you move your way around to the large CNC, correct?
Yep.
And they do all the programming here?
Yep. We're currently for the Maker's Fair, we're going to be making apple crates. So right now they're CNCing the handles out for them like that. I'm going to be putting the elk head here, and then they're going to be making the rest of the crate where they'll be nailing it together for the Maker's Fair.
Wow.
Figure everybody needs a crate for something, right?
Right?
That's
You're
right. Yes.
That's right. Well, this is really amazing. It's can you see the room a little bit, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, not only is the room amazing, but what Bill's doing is amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like, so Bill, you got these projects coming up for the Maker Fair.
Yep.
What other people don't realize is, besides, and I hate to say the word traditional.
Yep.
But this is, these are the cool projects where so many generations have learned how to make, it's really a gateway into the building construction, finished carpentry, learning how to make stuff. But in addition, you have kids who are going into the building construction trades. You're offering industry certifications. What else that people don't see? Do you want to talk a little bit about, included in your program that, I know you're proud of a lot of things, but what else do we not see here that you want to kind of highlight?
Well, I just think it's a great way to take a step into the woodworking field. I mean, it's some things that we take for granted. I mean, like these things here that we're making here, I'm teaching kids that, hey, if you have a saw at home or a router at home, you can be making these things at home instead of going to IKEA and buying this stuff, and it's probably better made if you do it yourself, and people are going to appreciate it more. I always get my wife that is constantly saying to me, hey, can you make this, can you make that? And I get things all the time from people all the time that ask me that. So, I just try to teach them, like, hey, you don't have to necessarily go buy this stuff. You can make this stuff.
That's great. As you've come up with all these creative projects, what are some projects that are swirling in your brain that you haven't done yet, but that maybe you're kind of like, I may think about doing in the near future?
Well, one of the things we were talking about was we took a lead off of the auto shop where they do a community night. And one of the things I'm thinking about doing is doing a community night with our Woods Club and maybe our Woods 1, Woods 2 kids, where they actually get people in, maybe 10 people, and we're going to do charcuterie boards. We'll end up and cut them for them, and then we'll pour the epoxy for them and things like that, and they'll show them how to finish them. So they're going to be the ones that are going to be teaching somebody else how to do the woodworking. And so far, I get a lot of responses on there like, hey, make sure you let me know when that day is, It's just trying to plan it all together and get it all together.
Sure. Well, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Well, do you think John can spell charcuterie or no?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that as we were standing here. I'm like, how do you spell that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I could say it.
Yeah. I think the other side to that, and that's a great community engagement project, and Austin, who we just had on the Noon Whistle last week, has gained a lot of energy from that. You talked about your partnership with Kenny over at Overwear Apparel. I'm sure Kenny was pretty excited to have like this satellite sales. How's that relationship been going? Do we want to talk a little bit about, do you see anything in the future there, or is it just kind of gaining momentum with the current relationship?
It's really good between Kenny and I. I mean, when I went in to talk to him, I've known Kenny for years, so it was really easy for me to talk to him about it. And he was just, I sat there and talked, and he was like, yep. Because this is all things I've wanted to do for years.
That's great.
And he goes, I've tried a little bit here and there. He goes, but I didn't have any success. He goes, but I think we'll do great things with this. And I said, I've got the kids that are interested in this already. And I said, that's half the battle is to sell them on it. And to get them going and stuff like that. I just think that between Kenny and I, we can do great things and keep moving forward. So,
yeah, I think that's the power of the partnerships, and I think that's what really sets Elkhorn apart. John and I, we started this podcast just to tell everybody's story, and what has grown from that have just been additional opportunities to people say, "Wow, I didn't know you had that relationship. How can I get involved?" So it's really cool.
Yeah,
really cool. John, what are some takeaways you have as we get close to the end here? What are you thinking as you walk away?
I always feel fortunate when I get to come to someone's site or where they do their work or where they teach, and I'm always amazed. I thought I knew what was going on, and I always learned something as we walk through, and I'm always amazed at the opportunities and availability of things to our students.
And I know before the show we were talking, Bill, and I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, but I've always find it interesting. Part of why we're doing this series in February, and we'll do it every year, is to celebrate Career and Technical Education Month, but it's also to showcase our really cool spaces that both of us mentioned it before the show. We don't know if people know about.
Right, exactly. I mean, we say it all the time that nobody will brand you better than you. Right? So that's what you're out there doing. You're branding you, and you're branding your workspace and your kids. And you're telling them, hey, this is what we're doing down here. I'm always sending email to staff members being like, hey, come on down, check out what we're doing, and I get a lot of people that come down and they're like, I didn't know you guys did that down there. And they're the people that are in our building even doing that.
Yeah, it's a high level shop, and there's not much you couldn't do here, I don't think.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
I have a student right now that's starting to work on the lathe, and he wants to turn down a life-size 4-inch bowl. from a life tree to a bowl. I'm like, okay, let's do this. If you come at me with a plan or something like that, and it's a realistic plan, it's like, I'm all game for it. Let's try it.
That's great. That's great. Well, we appreciate everything you do, and I'll just put a plug in for anybody who wants to partner up with a great program, a great professional, and wants to get involved with kids. This is your space. I hopefully from this this tour and podcast, nobody will be asking our Elkhorn community, are you still teaching the trades or woods? Because clearly we are at a high level with CNC laser engravers, cool stuff. And Bill does a great job of maintaining the facility. That's another thing that's that's our CT teachers have another level of equipment to maintain, and we appreciate all your hard work and everything you do. John, anything before we get going?
Stay tuned. I'm going to help Bill out putting this community night together, so we're going to get it done.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, Bill. John, on that note, you think it's time to get everybody back to work and lunch?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Well, Bill, thank you for your time. Let's get everybody back to lunch. On that note, thanks, Bill.